honestly, I've met them personally, the whole family, and it's just tragic what happened. So I'd love for you to open your ears up to their story. Without further ado.
Woo!
Thank you very much. Greetings to everybody. Thank you for coming here today. It shows that you have the vision of humanity in your hearts, because a lot of people in the crowd do not look like me, do not look like us, or the family of Jamal Francique, which are people who are constantly targeted by the police, unfortunately. And for you to understand that at this stage, to stand with us, means a lot, and it means that you are all agents of change. And I want you to remember that just because you may not share the same skin as us, and because you may not feel the same pressure as us, you have the same heart as us, as a human being. And your voice carries weight. When you hear your friends and family say things that are disparaging about our community, when you hear your friends and family say that, oh, they must have deserved that, or the police are always right, you have an opportunity to let them know how you feel, how it's not always as it seems in the media, how the story that's concocted is not always the truth. And you have a chance to change someone else's mind in your family, because the more people that recognize the truth and want to make positive change, the closer we will come to it. So again, thank you all for being here today. At this time, I'm going to introduce the Jamal Francique family. They are going to share with you the unfortunate and tragic pain that they have to suffer every day for the past 9 months. And they have to sit here every day and have questions unanswered. And it's very painful, and it is something that never leaves you, no matter what. And it's important that you share with them their pain so you can understand the importance of making positive change.
Jamal Francique's mom, and it's hard for me actually, love my son. But one thing that you must know, it's like the worst pain that life brings, not having him. Peel Regional Police put a bullet in the back of my son's head, and we have no answers to date. But once again, thank you for your support, and we really appreciate it. I'll give the mic to Jamal's father.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're here this afternoon to talk about Jamal Francique. Jamal Francique was a good man, a good father, a good brother, a good son to his mother, a good son to his father, a good son to his stepfather. He was a big brother to his sisters, a responsible person, a stand-up guy. Jamal was just a shining star. When he came into a room, everybody gravitated to him, gravitated to his smile, gravitated to his personality, gravitated to him in general. He was a good father. His kids came to him. He brought his kids to school, brought his kids back home. He spent a lot of time with them. He taught them a lot of lessons. He taught them a lot while he was here. The life that was taken away from my son is very tragic. We all would like to know the police officers' names. We would like to put them on the spot like how they put our son on the spot. We would like them to be humiliated like they humiliated our son. We would like their community to know what type of police is in their community, that they call themselves police. But we call them murderers. We call them somebody that shouldn't be in our community. We call this situation where the parents have to look at their own son that killed our son and call him police officer. The wife has to look at the husband as a murderer, and she has to go on every day. But I think the community should know. The next door neighbors should know. Everybody should know who this person is, what this person did, and how they can live in the community when it's so easy for them to pick us up and throw us up in jail. It should be that easy for them. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you. You're somebody that is very, very important to my son, and we respect her very much as a Francique family. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Yasna. Jamal and I were friends for 13 years. It's both a challenge and easy to carry conversation around how Jamal was as a person. A challenge because he is no longer here, and easy because he was a remarkable person. Jamal was kind and compassionate. He was the type of person to say hello and wave to strangers, offer a helping hand, and if needed, could start a conversation without even knowing as much as the person's name. Jamal loved cars. The passion and determination he had to ensure that he could build and put together a car was unstoppable. Last winter, we were taping garbage bags onto the broken window of his car in the middle of a snowstorm. Although the winds were strong and the snow was blowing, Jamal got the job done. I used to reference his commitment to building cars as a reflection of who he was as a person. When Jamal had a plan, he worked towards it. Even if it meant obstacles were in the way, when there was a will, there was a way. He paid attention to detail and was an active listener. In conversation, Jamal wrote, "It's about time to motivate everyone around me to be at their highest peak. Life is too short, gotta make the best of it." Jamal wanted the best for people. He influenced his friends to follow their dreams. He was always there to be the cheerleader who pushed people to stay motivated and not lose sight of goals and aspirations. Jamal was family-oriented and loved his friends. He is survived by his 2 young children who have been stripped of the chance to grow up with his love and guidance. A son, grandson, brother, cousin, friend. The heartbreak and emptiness endured has become unbearable. The following words are put together from Jamal's mother, Anne Marie. "The emptiness I feel inside, this feeling in my heart, like a heavy brick, is placed on my heart. It doesn't get easier with time, not for me. It's a struggle each and every day, not having my son. When I think of how he was tragically taken from us, from me, breaks me more every single time. I can no longer see his handsome face, gorgeous smile, hear his lovely voice, to tell him how much I love him, and to hear him say, 'Love you more, Mommy.' Only God knows why I'm still breathing. All I know, this is the worst pain life brings." Jamal was honorable, brave, trusting, hardworking, supportive, selfless, protective, caring, loving, and the list goes on. Jamal's resiliency broke through even during the toughest times. He was a light you could dim, but never turn off.
That was my boy.
So just so you can be centered in what happened, the media reports a lot of events, but not all events are reported equally. On January 7th, 2020, Jamal Francique was shot with a bullet in the back of his head by Peel Regional Police. 2 days later, he died. And this is why we're here, because there has to be accountability. Once again, we stand here as a community looking for answers. Another life has been lost due to the use of deadly force by police. Another family affected by the trauma of a preventable death. Another march to combat systemic racial violence. This should be the last one. I say that because we live in a society that has the will, the resources, and the knowledge on how to police the community in a fair, unbiased, humane way. But it may not be the last one, because we also live in a society that is divided into classes, divided into factions, divided by races, and divided by religion. With those divisions come contempt. That contempt leads to mistreatment. That mistreatment leads to hate. And in the end, that hate creates a system where people are not treated equally, and that has become fatal. This should be the last march because our police force has been trained to serve and protect. They have been trained to uphold the law. And the community has put their trust in an organization that has been tasked with the difficult job of responding to dangerous situations. When police officers approach matters differently based on their perception of how someone should be treated, they do their profession and our society a grave disservice and put us all in harm's way. On January 7th, 2020, 3 plainclothes officers approached Jamal when allegedly investigating a young man of African descent. That investigation ended in a tragic, unnecessary, and preventable death. A death that has many questions which require many answers. On January 7th, 2020, Jamal Francique was shot at 4 times by one of 3 plainclothes police officers while sitting by his home in a car on his way to visit his dying grandfather. 2 days later, on January 9th, 2020, Jamal died as a result of the callous shooting. The SIU has informed the family that Jamal was being investigated due to a tip 3 days earlier. The SIU also stated Jamal was seen in the community 48 hours prior and outside his home in the afternoon the day he was shot. The SIU investigated 8 witness officers and 1 subject officer. If the police believed he was committing an offense, why not apprehend him? They knew where he lived. Why wait until the evening and approach him without clear identification that they were police officers? And why discharge 4 bullets into the vehicle that he was driving, directly at the driver, with one of those bullets striking him in the back of the head? These are just a few of the questions that need answers. The river runs deep with a string of police shootings of unarmed civilians by Appeal Police. There's a fatal dysfunction that needs to be addressed. Rest in peace, Jamal Francique. Your mother and father loved you dearly. Your friends and family loved you dearly. And we as a community cannot let the questions surrounding your death go unanswered. There must be accountability, as there have been far too many lives lost. Rest in peace to Ijaz Chowdhury, DeAndre Campbell, Jermaine Carby, and the unfortunate other civilians who have lost their lives to preventable and unnecessary police violence. And give strength and courage to Chantel Krupa, who stood before you, another victim of police violence. Stand with the Francique family to raise awareness around this underreported tragedy. And demand accountability from the police for taking a young man's life in highly questionable circumstances. Thank you.
Black lives, they matter, where?
Black lives, they matter here.
Don't forget, you can keep up with everything that's happening with the investigation at Justice for Jamal on Instagram. So don't forget to follow them, support, because without your support, then the continuous silence would just be there, and we need to make some noise to make sure that this becomes a front page, frontline thing, and not just for the justice, but for the family that is here. And yeah, it's a very touchy subject, but it has to be said, and it has to be motivated to get to the ears and to the power that needs to be, so we can make a difference. Thank you very much. Make a round of applause for yourself.
Woo!
A round of applause for the family.
Woo!
You can only imagine how hard it is coming up here and talking about this. Thank you. Thank you. Next we have Denry.